I'm recording a vlog for the first time in nearly 3 years. The last one was March of 2019, a year before the pandemic started, and it's now January 2023, 4 years ago. Oh goodness. Anyway, whatever. I'm putting more content on this channel, and also I just felt if people are curious, they want to know what I've been up to for the last while. I mean, you can look at what I've been uploading, but that doesn't give you the entire picture. I've moved to Portland, Oregon as of a couple months ago. I'm in a temporary place right now. I've been here for a couple months. I'll be here just a little bit longer. Looks like, it's almost like I'm in a warehouse, but I'm just a basement with some partitions. This is my drum set right here. Fortunately, my current roommates are old music school friends. It's a very artistic household, and so it's two of them and their kid. And so I'm actually joined. So one thing, in terms of current musical projects, I've joined a band with my housemate, and we haven't had any shows. We don't even have a name yet, but I joined on drums, but I might hop around instruments. I think that's one of the things we want to do in the band, is have people hop around instruments. It's sort of like goofy, groovy prog rock, you might explain it. Anyway, the guy who writes all the songs and is organizing it, or writes the original songs anyway. I've played a fair amount of his music over the years, mostly back in the college days and now recently, but and it's fun. It's unique compositional voice. One of the things I wanted to do upon moving to Portland was plug into the tango music scene, and so that's the thing that I'm really excited about. Between now and the last time I recorded a vlog, which was nearly 4 years ago, I haven't done a ton. Part of that was because of the pandemic. In terms of tango, I got to sit in with a couple different acts that have come through my old city, but that was just playing a couple times a year for a little bit. And during the pandemic, I started getting the motivation to practice some solo arrangements, and I figured maybe after the pandemic I would build up a repertoire of solo piano tango arrangements that I could then play at any dance, and maybe plan a tour or something like that. So that didn't progress super fast, but I've now debuted 4 of my arrangements at a Practica the other week, and I've been writing a lot more and practicing just constantly. It seems like my default activity these days is camping in front of this piano and with my laptop right there, and just practicing or taking a break from practicing or whatever. And it's really shown. I'm better now than I've ever been. When I went and played for dancers at Baratine the other day, I guess it was a week and a half ago, the response I got was amazing. I was really pleased. I recorded that. If you want to, I uploaded a recording of each song from that show, sort of giglet. I recorded them into my TikTok, which is probably linked somewhere on my channel, but it's just TikTok @Azalea_Jane. There's music there, there's stuff there, personal stuff. Anyway, so yeah, and so I've started to network with local tango musicians. I'm planning to go to a little jam thing next week, Wednesday night, after, also at Baratine. It'll be after an event, and we'll get together and play and maybe jam a bit. So I'm excited about that. I've been practicing mostly piano. I haven't played the bandoneon for several years. I haven't even, yeah, once word gets out around here that I play, it's just a matter of time before I play again. And yeah, when I try to play now, like, it's like, it almost feels like I'm a beginner again. Like, it's weird. But then I started practicing a little bit more, just a little bit, and it started to sort of come back. Like, okay, once I actually practice this instrument regularly and methodically, the way I have been with piano, a lot of it I'm sure will come back, because like, I was getting pretty okay by the time I stopped playing in like late 2017. It was after my thesis recital, basically, I think, that I stopped playing. Like, I'd been playing a lot that year, and then I think after my thesis recital, I kind of actually sort of took a break from tango for a little while. I didn't really think about it or play it on any instrument. Let's see. One thing that happened between now and when I last vlogged here was I was a member of another completely different band for a little while. It's called JaSkaMon. We played reggae and ska and soca mostly, with some rock influences. And I started playing, I think it was late 2019. I joined on keyboards, and it happened that I had just been really getting into reggae music. Like, I was starting to listen to a lot of Stick Figure and then a lot of other modern groups, and then of course digging into older stuff. Like, I was really grooving out on reggae right around the time when I posted an ad on Craigslist, just as a keyboardist, in general, like, I want to play keyboards and whatever, give me shows. I was trying to get gigs and start making part of my living with gigs. And I was recruited by the then drummer of JaSkaMon, and it was kind of fortuitous. I was like, oh wow, the first person who recruits me we're playing, a genre that I've just been like really nerding out on and getting into. And so being in that band got me, like, it was mostly I think originals by the guitarist, singer, and also a fair number of covers. And I learned a lot playing in that group. I got to play one show before the pandemic hit. I would have been two, but we had a New Year's Eve show planned, and in Cottage Grove, and that was New Year's Eve 2018 to 2019. No, 2019 to 2020. The power went out. There was a storm that night, and we were setting up, and the power went out, so we couldn't play. It was hilarious. So we actually got to play with them in March 2020, right before lockdown. It was like a couple weeks before everything stopped. So, like, didn't play for like a year, and then we started meeting again like about a year into the pandemic, basically when the vaccine started getting available. And then, so played several shows with them between, from whatever, it doesn't matter. So, and I actually, about a little over a year ago, started working on an album. I convinced the band leader to let me produce our next album. All their previous albums have been produced by various different, producers around Oregon or whatever. And I convinced him to let me do it because I'm in the band, I'm invested in it, I know the songs, and unfortunately we lost our drummer right around this time last year, and there was some personnel shifting around. It was kind of weird. But I managed to, last year, get this album produced. I sequenced all the drums. I played about half the bass lines. Our bassist played the others. I played several rhythm guitar parts. We had a guest guitarist play a bunch of great lead parts on it. I played all the keys parts. I did some backup vocals, and then sequenced all the drums and some of the percussion. Some of the percussion was sample, recordings. And it took way too long. There was a lot of stress, personal stress last year I won't go into, but I finally got it done in mid-July. And it's called 2,000 Years Later. Maybe I'll post a link somewhere where you can listen to it on my SoundCloud, and you can buy it on the JaSkaMon website, I assume. And I'll link those too if anybody's curious, wants to listen to this album that I produced. I'm pretty proud of it. Like, I learned a lot in the process, and like, I still listen to it, and I'm like, that's actually pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. There are a few moments where I'm just like, yes. Anyway, but it was known from the beginning when I started playing with that band that I was trying to move to Portland eventually, and that when I got to Portland, it was unlikely I would want to continue, and that's the case. I managed to move to Portland last year, in October, November. Whoops. Ran out of space just now, and I had to clear some up. Got interrupted. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I moved to Portland. I moved to Portland a couple months ago. That itself is a long story. I might talk about that on my personal channel and upload that. But it was one of those task failed successfully kind of situations. I didn't think I would be able to move here yet, and but I managed to move here partially through my friends renting to me for a little while at a relatively... Anyway, so I had to stop being a regular playing member of that band, and that was a good run. Like, I didn't want to stay in that band forever. Like, the people in it, like, were cool, good musicians and stuff, but like, they weren't like, I didn't relate to them as much as peers for the most. There was a brief moment where I had a friend of mine that I recruited into the band, but they left a little bit later. Otherwise, like, it was more of just like a professional gig. It's like, oh, I would get together and play, have a good time, go home. And anyway, it was also, like, it was my job for a while. I was getting paid to write, not just go to rehearsal, but I also did some writing of charts and like some other stuff. So I got paid to rehearse and gig, and that was great. That's pretty satisfying to have like a good chunk of my income be coming from just playing mostly, and of course I got paid for the album too. So I even got a bonus from the band leader. He liked the job I did, and he gave me more than we agreed to, which was pretty sweet. I might produce more albums for that band, which would be really fun, because I really like the songs. Like the original songs by JaSkaMon. There are a lot of them I really think should be need to be codified. There are some that are already codified, but I know that he's not happy with them anymore, old recordings, and I completely understand. I have plenty of old compositions or recordings or whatever that I'm like, ugh, what was that? So it would be cool. It would be really fun to do, but we'll see. That might not happen for a while. And now I'm mainly I'm looking for piano students and other kinds of students now. I'm considering really making a big push for my Patreon, and doing just with renewed effort and determination, putting out content, because I feel like I've been languishing, wanting to put out content on not just this channel, but my personal one and a podcast one, but have been feeling a lot of I don't know, internal resistance. I feel like having finally moved to where I want to be for several years, and is getting me more able to put effort into those things, because there's just so many things I want to put out there, and I feel like if I really researched how to do it and then put the effort into it, I could potentially get some Patreon subscribers that would make up a little chunk of my income, That'd be pretty cool. If you're watching this, of course, you're welcome to click on the link and see what the tiers are. Even just the $1 a month ones are amazing because it's not just $1; it's a member. It's a person. It adds to the list of people that I know support me. So, anyway, I'm also considering like getting just like a job somewhere, like to add some stability to my life because currently it's almost all self-determined. Like there's rehearsals or stuff that happens that I'm accountable to, but otherwise I schedule myself for my engraving work, schedule myself for my piano practicing and everything else. And it might be good to find something where I like get out of the house and interact with people. So, and even that, I'm not sure, like, should I maybe go get like a job at retail or something like that where it doesn't take up any of my creative energy, where it's just, I do my shift, I go home. I was thinking maybe getting, looking for a job at a grocery store or something. I'm also thinking of trying to find a job related to my field, like maybe arts administration, event coordination with some arts company, something like that. I applied to the local stagehands union, but I was told by the person who referred me that like this is sort of the off season where you're not really going to get calls if you're lowest on the list. So like there's a possibility I'll get work doing that kind of thing, which would be really cool, but not currently. And I also need to find a place because like the agreement for my current place was like basically through beginning to / middle of February. So a little like stressed out about, okay, what am I going to do? But, I'll figure something out. I always do. And I'm also really excited about my musical prospects at the moment. I've been practically, if it were possible to practice one's ass off, I'd be doing it. But I don't think, my ass probably doesn't go away when I practice. It probably, if anything, gets bigger. Which actually is fine by me. Ass, you are welcome to grow. Hips too. Really good. Anyway, that's a decent update for the last 4 years. And I'm hoping to do these more often because I'm sure that it's absolutely fascinating.